Hello, how's everybody doing? Just wanted to welcome everybody to the show. Let everybody know that I have my mentor on with me today, and it looks like we have some lag on my side, but we'll see how long this works. Yeah, we got a different setup today. Wanted to go be live, and just let everybody know what's going on with me. I met Robb Quinn. Actually, I'm just gonna kind of give a little introduction about how his presence online. Because actually, I guess I was in maybe Ty Lopez's group or whatever, and I put a comment. And when you're in Ty Lopez's group, you pretty much everybody in there is loyal to Ty or anything. And I said, what is the best social media program on the market? And then a couple of people named a few other programs, but then all of a sudden at the bottom, somebody said agency in a box, and I was like, what in the world is this? And then somebody said, Robb Quinn is like, it's his program. And then scroll down, a couple further, and then somebody else said agency in a box, Robb Quinn. I was like, man, who is this Robb Quinn guy that people are talking about him in the Ty Lopez group? So I went and started searching, looking on YouTube, and the content that this guy has is actually absolutely amazing. Because I think I reached out to him that night, and I said, yeah, I binge watch your YouTube videos at night, because it's just so much value, and especially for social media marketing agencies, and just the fact that he actually how, and it's just his come up, because he just pretty much, just got, well, I won't say just got started, but obviously he has a background. I'll let him tell you all that. But anyway, just the fact of where he came from, just in a short amount of time. But yeah, so everybody's right here. I always talk about him, online and everything like that. So Robb Quinn is here with us. And I don't know, you want to give a little introduction as to who you are, give us a little background on your story. Or actually, let me ask you a question first before we get into all that. And So I got a question here for you. It says, tell me the most influential person that you have interviewed, and why are they, influential, or why is that so important to you?
The most influential person I've interviewed, I would probably have to say I've interviewed some badasses, and out of them, so I would say Austin Distill.
Austin, actually, I had the privilege of meeting him at JR's conference.
Yeah, he's a smart dude. And the reason why I would say is because I believe that everybody's basically what makes them who they are is their experience and influence. And he's actually walked the journey, right? He's been the nomad. He's started the big business. He's dealt with being a small business owner. Like, he's done it all at a young age. So he can give you real life advice from being there himself.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know I met him at JR's conference, and it's just pretty interesting that especially because he's so young, he's not that old, and so that's a good point. And then, who is a person that you would I guess more than likely interview that you have not interviewed yet? I guess a person that's on your interview list, because I know you had us make lists of people that we want to interview. So who is somebody that you want to interview that you have not yet?
I would probably say Tanner Fox or Alex Becker.
All right. And why those two?
Because Tanner had a similar story where he was starting out and he wasn't sure if it was going to be anything when he started, and it worked out. So I'd love to know what his background was and how he approached his growth, where his priorities were at. Alex Becker had a similar story starting out where he was in the Army or the Navy or something. Not the Navy, something in the military. And he left, and then I guess his dad was mad that he invested a little money he had into the internet, doing I think it was drop shipping or affiliate marketing or something for something random. And I don't think it worked out. But I would love to hear how he went from that to the SEO company he worked for, to starting his company, to now wanting to develop software, and just figure out how early on did his vision get big, and then what influenced that, and then what his driving force is now.
All right. I guess, well, speaking of driving forces, I guess what is your driving force? I guess we can get, actually, that kind of leads right into your story. So, just as far as how you got started and everything, and I don't know, just give us a little bit about your background, because I think you were actually, a professional I won't say professional, but I know you used to, I guess, lift weights, or, you were a bodybuilder. So, I mean, obviously you have to have a certain type of drive to, bodybuild.
Yeah. So what's up, Brian? I see Brian just jumped on. My personal driving force, man. Hey, what's up, Brian?
What's going on, Brian?
Yeah. So for me, in the terms of a driving force, yeah, I do have my pro card as a fitness athlete competing on stage, because I used to do that a lot. I've won a few shows. I went to Worlds for powerlifting when I was 19. So I've done all that stuff. But my driving force back then was actually based on like my haters. Right. And back then, that's what drove me, was like, I just wanted to prove people that I was the best and that they were wrong. And like, I was fueled by the rage of like the girlfriend that broke up with you because you're quote unquote not good enough and stuff like that. So at the time, I was so young and didn't understand really enough to be able to have a holistic driving force like for what I have now. So at the time back then, it was all driven on like, I guess, rage and like a chip on my shoulder a little bit. So yeah, because back then I worked 3 jobs and I still had time to train. So I stocked grocery shelves. I was a personal trainer early in the morning, in the AM, early AM before 5 a.m. And then I worked at a GNC and a sunglass hut. And then I still had time to train because it was my passion. And I always said back then, my vision when I was 19 and 20 was to have my pro card and go pro by the time I'm 25, have a best-selling book between 25 and 30, and then be a millionaire and be on Forbes 30 under 30 by the time I'm 30. So that was always my goal when I was 19 and 20 years old, and slowly getting there. Yeah, Brian was a trainer too. Brian was looking to be a fitness influencer. He was on right now. But I was an influencer back then, and it was cool in the fitness space, and it did all right. I was making like 30 grand or so at, I was like 20 years old or whatever, which was a lot of money back then, especially whenever you had no bills or kids or anything. So, but that was my driving force back then. My driving force now it's more than leaving a legacy. It's being able to write my own story and be able to just create joy in my life while I'm here. And to be able to help people understand what that looks like. Because when you start to chase perfectionism, that's whenever things start to like your self-worth starts to actually like decrease because you're chasing something unattainable. So I used to just focus on I used to have all the cool quotes and everything on my Instagram of like chasing perfection and all this other stuff. And it's funny to look back on it because now it's such an unattainable goal and it starts to derail your mindset because you start to say things to yourself like, I'm just not good enough. Why can't I get this done? Like, what's wrong with me? So yeah, my driving force now is to basically figure out how to create joy within yourself, to fall in love with this process of life and to leave a legacy in that way. And, obviously support dozens of people through my business and to help other people be successful through my programs.
Now, I know you talked about, perfectionism. So as far as perfection, because I feel, sometimes, I'm a perfectionist. And as far as perfectionism, I mean, what are some, tactics that you can get rid of? Because now you talk about, failure. So, I mean, you said that, that was obviously a lot, as far as, just you doing things, doing new things. Obviously, you talk about, in order to have success, you have to have failure. So obviously that's, pretty much, contradictory to being a, perfectionist. So at what point did you say, well, I'm going to have to fail at some things, in order to learn?
It was more so I was so excited to want to figure out what that next level is and seeing everybody else do it. And I always believed that I was enough. And anytime I saw somebody else, well, I didn't always believe that, but I believed it enough to the extent that I would see other people succeeding. And I knew I was talented enough, but I didn't have like all the self-worth and all that stuff built up yet. But I knew based on skill alone, I was talented enough. So I would see other people doing it and I knew like I should be able to do that, if not better. And that's whenever I knew if that requires failure, then that's just going to be what's going to happen, because I know on a skill level basis and a talent level basis that I'm better than that. And that's pretty much what drove me past that. What really started to help me scale to the next level to be able to deal with adversity was having a better awareness of mindfulness. And mindfulness is a sense of being able to control your emotions in a way that you don't over-identify with rejection, failure, excitement, or anything like that, because a lot of people relay those to happiness. And unfortunately, the only reason that you could have happiness or you could have hate in yourself is whenever you over-identify with those specific moments. So you can only be happy when you're successful. You can only be happy whenever you get the job done right. You can only be happy when you pick the right thing up for your wife, or you can only be happy when you close the deal. And if you want to take yourself to the next level, if you're talented and skillful, you need to have mindfulness of emotion and not over-identify with these things, because they do not make you who you are. Okay, they're just moments in time. So that helped my mindset scale to the next level.
Yeah, so I know we got Brian that said it's crazy how fun things get when you fear, failure, when failure dissolves. Yeah, I know. Actually, that's some of the stuff I'm going through now, because I guess some of the progression that I went through, I know Rob mentioned, actually just seeing other people, but some of the progression that I went through was actually seeing, other people do the stuff that I wanted to do. So it was like, in order for me to get there, I wanted to do what they wanted to do. But then I came to a point, a realization that, I said, well, failure doesn't matter anymore. So, if I do fail, and then I listen to, a lot about, I guess there's a big name in the, entrepreneur world as far as Gary Vee and everything. I listen to him, and he's very big on motivation and failure and all that stuff. So I guess, how big are you on mentors? I mean, do you feel mentors are necessary as, I guess any entrepreneur, or just do you feel, people entrepreneurs get to a certain level that they don't need a mentor anymore? Do you still use mentors? And I mean, I know the answer to this, but I just do you still use mentors in your life and your career?
Yeah, I think mentors are the thing that I overlooked when I was younger. In my opinion, I should have already done what I'm trying to do now years ago, but I was too hard-headed to think I needed a mentor. When you definitely need mentors. To answer your question first, before I go on a little tangent story, you need mentors. I still use mentors. Mentors are wisdom without the waiting. They're years and decades of experience at your fingertips that you can literally relate to and take what resonates with you the most immediately. They're wisdom without the waiting. Okay. But I remember I opened my first store and I had somebody approach me, my first storefront. I was 20 years old. And it was a nutrition shop. We sold shakes, supplements. We had a personal training studio in the back, and we sold like apparel for the store brand or whatever. It was called Redefined Nutrition. I came up with a dope logo. My slogan was dope. It was like, we're going to find your limitations and redefine them. And it was all super, it seemed great, right? And then I had two different franchise owners from two different companies approach me, and they offered me a franchise opportunity with really great options that most people don't get. And I was like, no, it's cool. I got this figured out. And I'm 20 years old because I got nominated best trainer in the Northland when I was 19 years old. And I was like on the front page of the newspaper and stuff. And then I went to Worlds for powerlifting, and then I was winning shows and as a physique athlete. And I was like, I am the man. And, I had all this false belief that I was something I wasn't yet. And my biggest problem, and this is what entrepreneurs run into when they start becoming successful in one way or another, is they stop educating. And that's whenever things get dangerous, is because what got you here won't get you there. And if you think you're successful here and then you stop learning, that's whenever you get beat. And not just by somebody else, but by yourself. You beat yourself. So that was definitely a problem. I didn't have the right mentors back then to help get past that mindset and tell me, like, Rob, you're doing good, but you're not reaching your true potential. And here's how you
can what do you say?
And here's how you can get to that next level. Like, I wish I would have had somebody there for me to tell me that at a younger age.
I just noticed your cup. It's like every time you go live, you have a different cup. Either you have a mug, or either you have a sports cup, or now you got a glass. I guess it's just a regular glass.
Yeah, I'm on a new diet and everything regimen where I'm trying to like be more consistent and like creating the best version of myself. So I do like shakes every morning with like peanut butter and protein and all this other stuff. And I take vitamins and stuff now. And so, yeah, it's just something I'm trying to do now every day.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, since you brought that up, how important is health as far as, just being a entrepreneur? I mean, what type of things do you test? Because I mean, obviously, you just said you started, I guess, a new health regime. So, what was your regime before, and do you feel a difference? How long have you been doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I got caught up too much in just working, and then I actually started seeing my efficiency going down as I stopped working out, stopped eating right, stopped reading as much. So I had to like take a step back, and now I'm more efficient again. I'm getting more done now that I'm not really drinking often at all, hardly ever. My diet is on point where I do shakes when I wake up. I do vitamin D, I do B vitamins, and I do biotin, and then a multivitamin. And then I work out every day. I read for 1 to 2 hours a day. And the reason I do that is because reading builds up your intuition, because you start to consume a lot of different wisdom and experience through that context. So whenever you have to make a lot of quick decisions, quick snap decisions, your intuition, aka your gut feeling, allows you to do that faster. So that's why I may spend so much time reading, because I can make more decisions more frequently, faster. So I like to make sure I do that every day. I spend time with my kids every day, whether it's driving them to school in the morning. Every day in the weeks I have them, we go out and just hang out after they're done with school. So there's some days I only work for like 4 hours a day. And then when I don't have them, there's days I work for like 14 hours a day. So, but you have to make sure that, your body you feel good, and then your mind stays sharp.
Yeah, that's interesting. I see that Brian commenting, it says new levels bring new problems, which is actually true. I know they got a song, Jay-Z got a song, more money, more problems. So, so I guess, as far as you pretty much gave us an idea of what you do typically every day. But I mean, actually, that was one of my questions as well. I mean, what is, a day like in the life of Robb Quinn?
Well, in the morning, because the weeks I have my kids and the weeks I don't, I still keep the same regimen. But in the morning, I'll wake up, I'll get my shake ready, I'll go through emails. So I'll do that first. And the reason I do a shake in the morning is because my B vitamin has some caffeine in it. So I'm trying to get away from coffee too. And it helps me keep my mind, like I'm not weighed down by food, and my mind stays sharp. So I get all this extra stuff done in the morning with my emails. I try to get my Facebook messages answered in the morning. And then I look through my day, because I write all my tasks down the night before, and I prioritize my day the night before by blocks. And then I like to highlight on my tasks list what else I'm going to get done, so I know that those are the only things I worry about for this day outside of my appointments. Then I drop my kids off every morning between like 8 and 9 is when I get back. I read from 9 to 10, where I'll do a Facebook Live. So I'll do one of those two things. From 10 to 11 is usually when my day starts, and I either have a Fortune Accelerator call, which you're in the program. If I don't have that call, then I'll do some type of like blocked off task that I have. And then throughout the rest of the day, it's just all the different blocked off task work that I have to do up until around 5 o'clock, and I'll go work out. I'll eat in the middle of the day, but I'll go work out around 5, and I'll come back. I eat 5 times a day now. So I'll eat really light 5 times a day. And that's pretty much my day, what it looks like. So usually my day is done around 8 p.m. And I like to kind of unwind a little bit. I've been like binging Riverdale. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, we had a discussion about that the other day. I mean, I've heard of Riverdale, but I've never really watched it. Probably won't watch it. I don't watch many, I don't watch too many TV shows. Well, I know I talked about this the other day, but I think I was talking to somebody about it. And what I do like to watch is actually Stranger Things and Dark, Season of Dark. So, But so I guess you typically pretty much you have your schedule set every day. I know that some people talk, well, let's actually get into time management. So I guess as far as time management, what helps with time management? I know that you just said, you have pretty much a schedule every day. So do you keep that same schedule every day? I know you mentioned that you have 2 kids. But I mean, how do you, obviously you have meetings every day. I mean, things change periodically. You run into different problems. So, I mean, how do you, I guess, on a day-to-day basis, stay up to date with time? How do you manage your time?
I always do it the day before, because if you want to get really, really efficient, then you need to know how to say no to things if it's not a priority in your mission statement. And if my day's already blocked off the day before, then that time's already spoken for. So it allows you to be way more efficient. I get so much done now, especially because I'm not really drinking at night anymore. Like, my mind doesn't slow down. So it allows me to be able to make sure that I'm prepared for the next day, to make sure that I can reflect on the day, because I always do meditation in the morning too. So it allows me to just I do meditation to add more awareness, just to feel like what's around me, to be more aware about what's going on around me. So I can kind of be more in the moment. Because that's so important, dude, is to learn how to be in the moment. Because the last thing you want to do is, if God forbid, your best friend or your spouse or whoever passes away, and then you regret not being able to have enjoyed the happy moments you had together to the fullest because you weren't 100% in the moment. So that's a big fear for me. So I try to learn how to be more in the moment. But for time management, I always plan the night before, because it makes all of my time slots spoken for. So it makes it easy to say no to things.
I know that actually we kind of went full circle, because I wanted to touch on this when you first got started with mindfulness, because actually I just did a post on my Facebook page the other day, and it was a post about meditation, and I guess the importance of meditation. Is meditation helpful? And that was probably the most, I got the most engagement on that post as any other post that I've ever posted. So, obviously it means a lot of different things to, a lot of different people. So, obviously it's important in a lot of lives. So I guess, one of the questions was, how do you meditate? So, I'd like to ask you, do you play music? Is it quiet? Do you sit down? Are you alone in a quiet room? Some people say you can meditate while walking. So, what is a typical, meditation session for you look like, and how long does it last?
Yeah, so I'm learning more about it. I used to take the walks and I used to just not have any headphones. I would turn my phone on silent. I would just walk to the coffee shop, and which is I live in a town center. So it's 5-minute walk or whatever, 10-minute walk. And I just like to listen to everything, really to pay attention to what's around me. Now I just basically sit in a room. I don't have any noise or anything. I just kind of sit there. And I like to just kind of, get one with what's around me, listening to all the little things. I leave the window open just so I could hear. I like to be able to know that I'm hearing everything around me. So whether it be birds chirping, flying around, or, whatever it is.
So do you close your eyes, or, what do you do?
I close my eyes. I sit there. Yeah.
And then do you have a timer set? How long does it usually?
Usually it's only 10 minutes or so. I don't set a timer though. It'll change if I feel like I just need to be there longer or not. And I do that in the morning before I take my kids to school and everything. That's part of the morning emails and everything. So I'll just sit there, and I'm big on affirmations. So a lot of time I'll just sit and just think and listen. And that's it. Because I always speak affirmations to myself. I think it's super important, not just to yourself, but to people around you, especially your closest people around you. So that's always something I say to myself every day. I'm like, you're the man. Everything that happens to you is an opportunity. The universe can't stop you. You are what the world needs. You are what the world wants. Go change the world. I was and that's what I say to myself every day.
So you just said the universe couldn't stop. I know most people talk about working with the universe, but you just said pretty much the universe can't stop you. So what exactly does that mean?
A lot of people believe the universe happens, right? And I do believe that too. But at the same time, I kind of see it more as me negotiating with the universe, because I don't really see that it's going to have its way. Things happen to you, and they say it's a trial sometimes to you, but I just don't believe in being stopped by anything that kind of runs into my path. So I like to see it as negotiating with the universe, because it can't stop me. So all it knows is it's got to meet me halfway.
All right. Yeah, looks like William just jumped on. What's up, Will? How you doing, man? Yeah, hashtag live if you're on live. Hashtag replay if you're on replay. Yeah, just in here with Robb Quinn, my mentor, asking him, a few questions. He's dropping knowledge on us. So get your notebooks and your pens out, because there's knowledge bombs already been dropped. If you're tuning in late, just catch the replay, rewind it. Make sure you, check everything out, because he's dropping knowledge. And I know that actually something that I started implementing, in one of our masterminds, you mentioned, yeah, what's up, Will? Yeah, so you mentioned that you actually, I guess you said you pretty much have affirmations for yourself, but I know that in one of our masterminds, you actually told, you mentioned to us that you actually get your kids to do affirmations as well. So actually I started implementing that with, in my life. And as far as just getting my kids, I'm like, who's a winner? And that, at first, when we first got started, they were like, I am. But now it's like, I am. I say,
Yeah.
And who's going to change the world? I am, so, it's kind of, you like, and I mean, I see the significance of it, because once you, especially a smaller, kid, I mean, my kids are 10 and 12, but I mean, still, I mean, even at that age, I mean, you get it deep down inside of them. And then, when they grow up and when they have a situation that they come through, they're always going to think about that. It's like, I'm a winner, I'm a fighter, I'm not going to stop, So, I mean, how important is that to you? Well, actually, there's kind of a twofold question. We can kind of lead into it. I know you like to go off on tangents and everything, so I'm just going to spit out all the questions now, and then you can just go off on your tangent. But so how is, what do you want to pass on to your kids, and how important are the affirmations in their life?
Yeah, so the affirmations are super important, and what I want to make sure that gets ingrained in their brain is that they are built with bigger vision. That's why I like to say, who's going to change the world? And that's why I like to let them know that, so they don't think like, who's going to make an impact in the city, or who's the prettiest girl in your school. I think that stuff is what's wrong with the world. And so what's up, Chris? So whenever I talk to like my daughter or my kids, I like to make sure that I tell them I'm also proud of them and for why. And I like to make sure I leave out things like, I mean, I say it, but I don't put emphasis on this stuff, is like, you're beautiful, or you're the best looking kid in your school, man, to my son, stuff like that. Like, I'll say things like that, but that's not the emphasis, because the problem with that, and the problem with this world right now, is that people are like being subjected to those things, and they're starting to believe like, oh, well, if I want to be a somebody, I have to be really good looking, or if I want to be a somebody, I have to be like, super buff or something like that. And the problem is, you're born a unique certain way. Okay. And if you're born into a world like that, where you believe that, and then you can never be that because you're physically not capable, that's going to scar somebody forever. You know what I'm saying? So like, I want to make sure if I say things like that, I'm gonna be like, baby girl, you are so strong and you are so athletic. I thought it was awesome. I'm super proud of the way that you kicked that soccer ball into the goal and you ran around the other player. So stuff like that, because that is what they can actually change. They could actually do something about that. Could you imagine somebody coming up to you and saying something like, oh, you're not this, or I think people that are like this are the best. And, like, you just can't be that. Like, God just did not make you that way. And then you just like, okay, well, that's great. So the only thing that you're going to like is this. I mean, that's the most derailing thing ever. And then that's called shaming, and people get shamed all the time at a young age. So it gets ingrained into their brain that that's what acceptance is. And I think that's what's wrong with the world. So I like to make sure we avoid that, and we focus more on stuff like, hey, you're super smart. I loved how fast you were, or how you sang the ABCs and added that extra thing at the end. I've never heard of somebody doing that before. And I'd be like, I'm proud of you. I like that. It's really good. You're learning that quickly. So, because they can focus on how to learn things even faster. That's a controllable. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let me just go over some of these comments. I know Chris just said, Robb Quinn said my name. Yeah, that is a big accomplishment, just to get Robb Quinn to speak your name out. So yeah, and what's going on, Jatari Jackson? How you doing, man? I know that where I want to go. Yeah, I know that we're talking a lot about, I guess, pretty much, mindset stuff. And actually, I'm going to do a post. I meant to do it early this morning, last night, whatever, but I didn't get a chance to. But we had, I guess it was I want to say, powerful mastermind yesterday, where we're just talking about, just having, mindset. I know Robb talked about mindfulness, but I mean, the thing is, I guess even, with having mindfulness, you need to be aware of your surroundings, but then you also need to have, I guess, just components with, inside of you that'll actually help you, push through. Chris is crazy, man. So you're just saying I said your name. That's not as as important as Rob saying your name. But I guess as far as having different components inside of you, because I guess the drive that you have, I guess some of the situation that we were talking about yesterday, everybody pretty much on the call or the on the Zoom call is pretty much just drop your mouth. But I mean, it's just like, hey man, it's nothing to me. And, if it happened, you were saying it was nothing to you. So I mean, if it would have happened to us, or if we're looking at it, I mean, what type of things do you do to prepare your mind? I mean, how do you, do you read books? I mean, obviously, I know you said you meditate. Obviously, that helps with, just having a great mindset. But I mean, I'm kind of asking multiple questions here again. But the thing is, especially I know in my audience, there's a lot of new entrepreneurs. I'm a new entrepreneur as far as just, developing, starting my own business. I mean, what type of things do you use or do you do to actually get you through the rough times, to push you, excel you through the rough times? How do you know that you're going to make it out of the situation that you're in?
So I like to try to subtract words from my vocabulary. Things like happiness, like I don't like to use that word. Things like want, I try not to use that word either. And the reason why is because in order to overcome a lot of those things you were just talking about, especially as a new entrepreneur, you need to learn. Yeah, I read a lot of books, but you need to learn how to practice gratitude. And that's being thankful for all the little stuff. I was talking to Adam Wenig a while back, and he was explaining how when he went from top of the world, being #1 MLM person in the world at 20 years old, and then he lost everything because the company went under, he had to learn how to be thankful for the little things, thankful for just waking up, thankful he had a bed, thankful that, he could open up his window and see the sun, things like that. Like whenever you have gratitude, which that is gratitude, and it's a direct link to joy. Okay. And the bad guy to those two things is happiness, because happiness is being happy in the moment because of something, right? Like, oh, I'm so happy because I just won a $5 scratcher. That's being happy. Okay, it's not sustainable. It's not holistic. So when you create joy and gratitude, where you're thankful for things, right? You're just thankful for being. You're thankful for, just all the little stuff. That's how you can overcome all these other levels of adversity that you're going to see as any type of entrepreneur, new or experienced, or not even an entrepreneur, just in life. So that's why people tend to become a victim to their emotions, because they don't have mindfulness and they over relate to those different fears, failures, and happiness. So I practice gratitude a lot.
Yeah, that's actually I was going to say, before you even said gratitude, I was thinking the attitude of gratitude. I know that actually one of my mentors that I listened to, or a book I read or something like that, actually just says that you need to have an attitude of gratitude. And the reason why, I just heard Rob say, it's linked to joy. I mean, the more joy and stuff you have in your life, just be appreciative of the things that are around you instead of, wanting and, I guess trying to acquire more things. Just be happy with, what you have. And obviously, we talked pretty much a little bit, well, actually a lot, pretty much about 30 minutes or so about, having a mindset. But actually something that I'm learning now that we kind of talked about yesterday in our mastermind also was the fact that, in order to, anybody can acquire a skill. I mean, you can just go read a book, you can go take a class, you can, just watch a training online, Google. I mean, you can just Google, one particular topic and you can pick up a skill by doing that. But the thing is, with mindset, that's just something that has to be ingrained in you. I mean, like they say, some things can't be taught, they have to be caught. I mean, just having, mindset, just a, unstoppable mindset. You just have to, I guess, experience things and go through things. And I guess as far as experience things and going through things, I guess now we can kind of, transition to the business side. So what is the situation that, or actually what is the word about this new program that you have, Agency in the Box? I mean, what is it? I mean, a lot of people are talking about it, or chiming about it. A lot of agency owners really. And also, a lot of business owners are like, I want to start my own business and actually pretty much your program is, I guess, an initiation to, someone starting their own business. Just, even if they don't know much about social media. I mean, if somebody, well, actually just tell us what, Agency in a Box is first. What exactly is it? What does it do? How does it help an agency owner? How does it help somebody that wants to start to go, a brand new person trying to transition out of their job and start their own business?
Yeah, so it's basically the first ever white labeled, you call it a franchise, if you will, but it's kind of not, and I'll explain why. But basically, you can jump in, similar to how if you were to ask Anytime Fitness for all their resources, team, and help. But then the difference is you get to call it whatever you want. So I would call it Robb's Fitness. And then I also don't have to pay them anything until I start making money. That's what Agency in a Box is for digital marketing agency owners. So basically, you come in, we give you all the prospecting tools that you need to generate the right type of prospects. We give you scripts, so this way you can make sure they're qualified properly. We give you webinars to send to them prior to the actual appointment to close the deal. So this way they can get warmed up even more, know exactly how we're going to do it. And then we give you a team of closers. So you can use my team to actually close a deal for you. After that deal is closed, then we have a fulfillment team that will also service that deal that just got closed. So as somebody that jumps into Agency in a Box, all you'll have to do is make sure that you're talking to the client, making sure they're still happy. That's it.
That's incredible. So, I mean, looking at this as an agency owner myself, is like, so what do I do? I mean, other than just, pull people to the table, it's like my hands are off, because I know that was actually, I'm in the program as well. But I was just, I mean, the thing is, it's like, the first question I asked Rob was like, well, what do I do? And pretty much, you just heard him say it's, kind of hands off. So, and then I know you mentioned that you have people, I guess, service on the back end as well. So exactly what type of program is that? What type of system is that? I mean, is it a business, or, I mean, how does that work?
Yep. So DashClicks is who services the deals, and DashClicks will go in. They have this amazing dashboard that they set up that you can get to your clients that has all these AI capabilities to match up with all the different platforms like Google, Facebook, etc. And what's really powerful about it is that they can service all these different things, and then you never have to worry about reporting. That's the problem with outsourcing, is that most agencies that are trying to get into this agency space want to offer more than one thing, because you need more than one thing. But the problem is they work through all these different people in like third world countries, and all the reporting is different, the communication lags, and there's all these obstacles. So we eliminated all of that by keeping it all in the United States, all under one umbrella.
So you said everything's internal, in the United States, so nothing's outsourced, right? So,
right.
So that's good. So, I mean, all you people that are concerned about, companies that are outsourcing, you got call centers in the Philippines or wherever else, you got them. Not to say, there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, sometimes, if you ship stuff out overseas or anything, or if you push stuff overseas, sometimes the quality decreases. And as you heard him say, everything is, in the United States or whatever. So I guess as far as DashClicks, how long have they been in existence? How long?
DashClick, that company has been up like 3 months, but the platform itself has been running for years. But they've only offered it for, working with companies like mine and working with other agencies over the last, we're going into month 3 now.
All right. And as far as, because obviously you haven't always had it, always had Agency in a Box. I guess explain to us the process of how you came to Agency in a Box. I don't know if you want to give away, all your juice or all your sauce or whatever, but I know that I think originally Agency in a Box started from a PDF. So you guys out there that think, you just don't have, you're not capable of creating programs or, creating courses. I want you to listen to Robb's story, as far as how he actually started, how he grew this company or this program from, I guess it was a PDF into something that's actually massively big. So.
Yeah, so it did. It started as a PDF, and I did a pre-enrollment. So we had like 100 people that wanted the program. I picked 7 of them, and I put them into a soft launch, and then it was just a PDF. So I was going in, showing them how to prospect, and then I was also closing the deals for them, and I was servicing the deals for them. So I literally was Agency in a Box. And it actually got its name because I was unpacking my house in February, and I was opening a box of stuff, and I was like, man, I wish everything in my agency because, I hit 10K a month in 60 days with my agency. So I was like, I wish everything that I do in my agency came in a box like this and I could just give it to other people. And I was like, oh, cool. I'll just call it Agency in a Box. And that's how the name came about. But yeah, it started as a PDF, and then it started to gradually progress because I was noticing obstacles everyone was having. Now it started to develop solutions for those obstacles. So as we continued to do it, we got more and more solutions to more and more obstacles. Then we started to build a team that rallied around the same vision, because everybody wanted to create a program where you could have everything in one spot. But there's so many moving pieces that nobody has been able to execute it yet. So a lot of people shared the vision. So this is why we've been able to make it what it is. But I'm all about moving fast. And the reason why is because the faster you move, the faster you find failure, and the faster you find obstacles, which means that you're going to have way more solutions to create, and you can actually move the program along faster.
Wow. Yeah, most people are the opposite of that. So I guess that's one thing that most entrepreneurs would disagree with you with, as far as how fast you move, because most people want to move methodically and move slow. So, you just heard, obviously, you just heard Rob say, you need to move as fast. Well, that's the way he did, because obviously I think there's a different size for different people. But that's pretty interesting that you said move fast, because you think, the faster you move, the more mistakes you make. Because obviously, I work in pretty much, I work in the lab, but obviously we're a manufacturing company, so they bring samples to the lab. But the thing is, working on, the people that work on the lab are in the, the manufacturing side. The faster they go, pretty much, the tendency is, the more mistakes they make, even so much for us in the lab. So it's like Rob just said, move fast. So obviously, in moving fast, you're going to make, mistakes. But I guess you heard him say that, he doesn't really care about making mistakes. He adjusts as, it goes. So, obviously you ran into, some complications, mistakes. I guess you pretty much just have the mindset, which goes back to the mindset of, you have to have a mindset to, deal with all the problems and everything. I don't know if you want to touch on that or not, obviously, but so I guess as far as, I know some people mention that, everybody says they want to be a millionaire, and everybody, wants to get $1 million. How is, and probably everybody wants to scale their company to a higher rate, $1 million, whatever. How hard or how easy is it to do that, as far as your come up and your journey? Because I know that you're pretty much at a significant amount right now as far as what you make monthly. But how hard is it to do that? And then once you do get to that point, how hard is it to sustain it?
Yeah, so I haven't done $1 million yet. It's funny because I was talking to Akbar yesterday and explaining Agency in a Box. And before we jumped on an interview with him and his group, he really started asking detailed questions about it. And he's like, this is like a 7-figure launch. Like, if you launch this would be a 7-figure launch. And I think being a millionaire is pretty easy. I haven't done it yet, but we've been scaling so quickly with monthly revenue that I think being a millionaire is easy. I think what's important is that you understand why you want to be that quote unquote millionaire, or do like 100,000 a month or whatever people want. Because the goal's silly if you don't have like a purpose behind it. Like for me, my goal isn't to be a millionaire. Like, I'll do $3 million next year, and I only did 250,000 this year. And I can say that in confidence because I understand all my moving pieces. So I know how I'm going to go about the process. I have the team in place to do it now. And it really comes down to, I'm not interested in being a millionaire because it's going to happen. Like, it's inevitable. Like, what I'm interested in is being able to, like I said, learn how to create joy through this process, and to be able to like help support dozens of people's lives in my company and move humanity forward in the process. So for anybody trying to be a millionaire, they need to keep that stuff in mind. And sustaining it's easy as long as you understand your foundation.
Yeah, that's pretty deep right there, as far as what you said as being a millionaire is easy, because that's pretty much contradictory to what everybody else is saying. Because you have people, working a 9-to-5 job, and they're like, what's wrong with this guy, man? How is he going to say being a millionaire is easy? It's like, I've worked all my life and I still hadn't acquired $1 million. I've invested, put money in the stock market. I put money, in my 401k, and it's like, that still hasn't even reached $1 million. And this guy's just telling me $1 million is easy. Get out of here, man. I'm pretty sure, there's people on there saying that. So, I mean, what do you want to say to those people that are actually saying that? They're actually, in the 9 to 5 grind, like, me, but obviously, we got a business on the side and everything like that. But I mean, just for people who are not trying to supplement their income, what do you have to say to them?
So I would say it's not a matter of me being wrong or you being right if they're thinking that. It's a matter of, first of all, if their mindset isn't to the point where they already agree with that, I would just go ahead and use statistics and like a numerical argument. And I would come in and say, based on your opinion and you working for somebody else, I'm sure that you crunched numbers. So my only response to you would be, how many people in the world do you believe are interested in the topic that you have? And do you believe you could put something together that's worth $5 or $10 to sell it to all those people? Right? And would they buy it if it was going to solve that problem? And then how much money would that be? Because typically it's going to be $1 million. And numerically, it's indisputable. So if they don't have the mindset to believe in themselves, I would just go ahead and do it from a numerical standpoint and let them use logic to show themselves how easy it really is.
That's interesting. And then, I mean, it obviously makes sense because I've heard Ty Lopez mention some of that on it. He actually asked people, if you want to scale to $1 million or $25 million, it's like, how do you want to do that? It's like, man, you got to find at least 1 million people, sell a product for dollars, and then there's your $25 million. But I mean, obviously, there's a lot of, extra work, into that, behind that and everything. But I guess examples of just picking like, small products. I guess him and his business partner have like, I guess, a supplement brand. And then you talk about like, what are protein bars. You think of those companies, obviously, they're probably at least, 10, 15 million. So, I mean, that's pretty, just pretty much all the ideas that you have. I mean, write them down on paper and, just keep them, see how you can implement them, grow a business around them. And I know just, this pretty much leads us to our last question now. I don't want to, egg this on and go on any further, but pretty much I end all my interviews with, if you were to, with this question, I end all my interviews with this question. If you were to have one superpower, what would it be? And I'm sure you've answered this like 1,000 times. So.
I have, but I'll go ahead and answer it differently. So it is different every time. I'll go with the next superpower that I would have. I would probably want to be able to duplicate myself, like really legitimately like clone myself. I think that would be a cool superpower. So this way I could be in more than one place at once, kind of like Hermione in Harry Potter, how she attended all of her classes because she was able to use that stopwatch of time and attend multiple classes at once. I wouldn't want to control time. I don't like that idea because I feel like there's no repercussion, but for like what you do. But I do like the idea of duplicating myself, to be able to go out and like create the best version of myself by like learning to play guitar over here, learning Spanish over there, and doing all these different things at once, and then like coming back to form one person again. And then I know all the stuff each one of my duplicates learned, and I could be one person again and know all that stuff.
Yeah, I heard that before as far as duplicating yourself and everything. So that's good. So how can the people reach Robb Quinn? I mean, I know you have a lot of free products and everything. You got a group, you got a website, you got multiple programs. You're involved with a lot of people. What's the best way that people can reach out to you or find you?
There's a lot of ways. Like if you guys find me on Instagram at RobbQuinn3 or YouTube, I would say the one I'm most engaged on right now is going to be Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, you can look my personal profile up under Robb Quinn, and then you'll see my Facebook group there. So if you guys want to come kick it with me in the group, you could definitely do that. If it's all right with you, man, I can actually give out something for free on here.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So if you guys want, I'll give you my consultation ebook, and then what I use for cold calls, all my cold calling scripts. So let me get this here. And then you don't even have to opt in. You'll have to opt into my chat bot, but you won't have to like give me your email or anything. Bam. So there you go. Let's put it in there. And just click that link and you'll be able to download both of them without an opt-in.
All right, there you go. Here it is. You heard it from my mentor to me, mentor to many. And obviously, he's going to scale. He's going to grow big. Obviously, I'll put him in the conversation with Ty Lopez and Travis Stevenson and, you know, all those big gurus, Anthony Morrison. So obviously, he's already spoke on stage once or twice. So obviously, just look out for him. I mean, you know, he's going to be in the spotlight. Company's going to grow. And there's big things that, you know, are coming his way. So we appreciate it, Robb. Thanks for joining me today. And
Thanks, bro.
you know, you guys can reach out to him, look on the link. So appreciate it, Robb. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. Later.
All right.